I want to do a video about how the mind is like an abstraction virus. And it's a pretty weird video, but at this point, I guess most of mine are. So, the mind, the trick of the mind, is the way it solves problems is not in the real world. Because in the real world, there are real consequences. So, the mind figured out if I solve a problem in this virtual reality, I don't have to deal with the real consequences. So, instead of just going up and poking someone at random, the mind figures out what could happen in its virtual world if you do this. And so it says, well, that's kind of a bad idea. So most of us, we're living in these incredibly abstract worlds. We have our jobs, we have philosophy, politics, and science, and these are gigantic abstractions. And we're so lost, we can't bring a foothold back to even a little bit of reality. And there's a really big consequence to this because depression and anxiety are consequences of getting lost in abstract worlds. So, to give you an example, what would happen if there was a car accident in Toronto right now? Well, there's nothing you can do about that. The mind creates a problem out of this, and the mind says, well, there's nothing I can do to stop this terrible thing. That's a problem. But the mind actually creates multiple levels of abstractions. Just to give you an idea, one of my favorite lectures from Alan Watts is when he talks about how when thieves enter the first floor of a building, the police come in, but then the thieves go to the second floor. When the police go to the second floor, the thieves go to the third floor. So you get this ever-increasing kind of set of abstractions. So the mind, rather than just stopping there and saying, well, it's a problem that I can't stop this accident from happening, the mind says, well, it's a problem that it's a problem that I can't stop this accident from happening. And it can even go up a couple more levels. But here's how we deal with this. We deal with it by realizing that it isn't a problem. When we conceptualize it as a problem, that's the first step into this abstract world. So what we do is we keep it real. We keep it, we stop the abstract virus in its tracks. And the way we do this is by bringing things back to simple reality. This is why Buddhism always has a distrust of the abstract and a preference for actual reality. In fact, there's a couple simple therapies for people who are having panic attacks because that's one consequence of getting lost in an abstract world. And in this therapy called grounding, it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you think of, you list 5 things you can see. That's a basic sensory reality. Then you list 4 things that you can hear, 3 things you can touch, and 2 things you can taste, and so on. And so it's getting you back into actual reality rather than your ideas about reality. And for people who do this, they have a lot of success with it because they're getting out of this abstract mind. And so, as Alan Watts said, everyone should come to their senses and lose their mind at least once a day.